What's up? I'm Scotty from the Boardr, where we help run some of skateboarding's most fun events. In this series of videos, we'll be covering how to run a quality event. In this segment, we cover staffing.
We are going to dive right into staffing. Obviously, your staff is of the utmost importance, planning going into your event, as well as executing it. So different staff members will consist of your director, project manager, announcers. We often use more than one announcer. Judges, 3 to 5. Registration, 1 to 2 people on registration. DJ, logistics. Sometimes you have more than one person on logistics, or people are sharing duties there a little bit, and an assistant if you're lucky. Maybe you get 2 assistants if you're lucky. So starting from the top, the director of the event. That is the person that knows a little bit about everything. The director is ultimately the person that is responsible for executing the event. They're not only there to get the thing going and make sure everyone's on point and each department's doing their job or has done their job. They're also the one that says, okay, it's 9 o'clock, let's get this contest going. So that's the director. They're also there to solve problems. Let's say there's a judging question, the customer is not satisfied with the answer, then at that point you would talk to the head judge didn't answer to the satisfaction of the customer, basically. At that point you would talk to the director. So the director is there to execute as well as solve and handle problems and issues. Moving on down our list here, project manager. So the project manager is the person that talked to the city and got the permit for the park, has the insurance policy handled, is aware of where registration's going and how the sound is set up, and they're managing the whole project. They're handling all of the details of how it's all going to sort of happen throughout the day. And the project manager going into the event, they're critical because they're the ones telling the whole staff, hey, here's how we're doing it, here's when we're doing it, and here's how it's going to get done. Next up, let's talk about announcers. When you're the announcer of an event, the audience automatically thinks that the announcer is in charge and knows everything about what's going on and how everything works. That's not always the case. Sometimes you have to hire announcers that maybe only work with you just to do that contest or just do that event. So make sure, number one, your announcers have as much information as possible. But number 2, make sure that they are that really, really professional person that knows how to run the event and keep it going, keep things happening. Sure, they're supposed to be fun, their conversation's enjoyable, but at the same time, the announcer is the one keeping the contest going and not wasting any time. They're saying, judges, are the scores in? Okay, great, scores are in, we're moving on to the next jam. That's the announcer's job. Think of the other name of an announcer as MC, Master of Ceremonies. You are in charge with keeping the flow going of the contest. Okay, if there is anything critical, it's the judges you hire. Every job's important. Judges, I mean, there's a lot of emphasis, obviously, placed. It's a contest, you know. People are there to try to win. And it doesn't matter what level of contest you are skating. It could be the Grind for Life series that we do, and it could be Vans Park series or Street League. It's like that people go to contests to win, and even if the stakes aren't high, it's something like Grind for Life. It's important to people, and they want to know, you know, why they got a certain score. So you are hiring only the most experienced skateboarders as judges. That's number 1. They have to inherently comprehend and understand skateboarding's idiosyncrasies, the little tricks, everything switch, how hard things are. Do they have to actually be able to do every trick? No, of course not. That's not possible. But they should have an understanding of skateboarding and have some experience at some point in their lives being a hardcore, die-hard skateboarder. Something else that is absolutely critical, they have to be detail-oriented and have the ability to pay attention all day for hours on end. Now, some contests, Vans Park Series Finals, for example, men's last an hour, no big deal, you know, an hour and 15 minutes. Grind for Life, you're starting at 9:30, 10 in the morning, and you're sometimes working until 5 with very minimal breaks. You have to have that person that cares as much at 5 p.m. as they did at 10 a.m. and is paying attention. You know, no talking to the other judges unless you're talking about actual contest. No no distractions, no being on your phone, that sort of thing, where they're giving the skating their undivided attention when the contest is actually going on. Judges they need to be the most committed, ready to work, down to be there all day. It's just a different kind of job, you know, and when a director can kind of spend the day talking to people and solving problems here and there, the judges, there is no socializing. You're just there to work and judge the contest. And the most important job when it comes to the judging is the head judge. The head judge speaks about the judging. So if there is a parent or a skater that's like, how come I didn't win and I got second? What could I have done to have won the contest? The head judge has to be able to eloquently explain why that skater got second and not first. You're just attempting to explain why. And then we have we often get parents say at a Grind for Life contest, you get parents that say, man, my kid didn't make the cut or he didn't make top 3. What's he got to do? And you just say, hey, this skater did this and they got top 3. Your son or daughter didn't do that. They did this instead. So that's why. You're just giving reasons, and you just have to be able to communicate in an eloquent manner with your customers. Next up, we have registration. So you're going to have, if it's a really busy event, you have 100 plus skaters, you didn't do too much pre-registration, you're going to need more than one person at the registration desk. The people at registration, they're collecting all the data of your skaters, their names, where they're from, their sponsors. It's absolutely critical that you are spelling names correctly, that everything's entered into your database, just for a professional look. You just want everything to be exactly on point, their hometown, who they ride for. Keep it consistent, spell everything correctly. It's just a great way to look like a professional. Of course, the registration is, they're entering participants. They're also creating the jams and runs, setting those up. So when it's time to start the contest, the judges have all the jams and everything set up. They are also doing that as quickly as possible to get the information to the announcers, so the announcers can say, okay, we're starting at 10 a.m. With 8 and under, and here's our skaters that are skating at 8 and under. So that's critical, because you want to make sure you solve all problems before the contest starts. If you have a great person on registration, you won't have those problems. And so there is something else about registration that is really important. That's your welcome to Moe's. That is your Starbucks person behind the counter. When you walk in, you walk up to your event. It's like, hey, how's it going? How can I help you? Because some people you may be doing a big event where people are experienced and know what's going on. You also could be doing a small grassroots contest where it's their first contest. It's the kids' first experience. It's the parents' first experience. They don't know what it is. That is your first line of customer service, where you make someone feel welcome when they come up to your event. A few more departments left here. We'll jump into the DJ. So your DJ, obviously, your DJ's playing music, right? Your DJ has to know that your event is also a show. There is a time where when you start the contest, if you're doing an all-ages event, it starts with 9 and under, you're not starting the first skater, the first run or first jam with the gnarliest Slayer song you could possibly play. You're working your way up to a highlight point of the day. So your DJ has to understand that, like, there's a time for Slayer and a time for Iron Maiden, and there's also a time for classic rock and hip hop. You're gonna have to make the decision at your event of what sort of, is it rated R, is it PG-13, is it PG, is it G? You have to make that decision based on what kind of event you're running. In Europe, I think anything goes. There's parts of the world where you can play anything and there's no repercussions. In the States, it's a little different. You're playing a small town outside of Tampa, you're definitely going PG at the absolute worst and trying to keep it G. That is definitely the vibe of the day. So yeah, your event is like a show, and he's running it as such. And so the DJ, not only is he doing the show, but at the same time he has to be aware of what's going on. So during a run in a jam, volume's up, it's cranked. All right, when the announcer says, okay, that's time, the DJ is pulling the volume down. You're setting the stage of, like, okay, here's what's coming up next. That jam's over. This jam's coming up. You're listening to the announcers now. The day is flowing, and the DJ is part of that flow. And then this is also important as well. the second someone, DJ's busy, right? So he's got one song playing, especially if they're short runs, and there's someone else coming up, he's getting the next song ready, whether he has records or he's doing it digitally. It doesn't matter, he's busy. So sometimes, someone gets hurt and the contest stops, but the DJ is unaware. So the announcers, everyone has to be working together where it's like, hey, someone's hurt. Oh, okay, pull the music down, someone's hurt. It's just really important for the vibe and feeling of the day that the DJ is completely engaged and on point. Next up, logistics. Pretty much what it says it is, you are getting everything from point A to point B. That is the responsibility of this person. So whether you're driving all of your equipment over in a bunch of different cars, you have a rig, a trucks and trailer, or you're shipping everything there, the logistics person is the one that is making sure the sound, the power, the cords, every little tiny fastener and stapler and every tool and cords and every single thing you need is getting from wherever you guys are to the event. And once it gets to the event, that logistics person's like, okay, this is going here, that's going there. Your project manager is aware of this, but they're working with logistics. They're going, oh, okay, we're doing registration there. Okay, and logistics is setting that up. Usually logistics is also handling the branding. They're putting the branding up, and they're putting the banners up, and they're putting the stickers on the course, and making sure the tents are all in the right places and that sort of thing. The logistics, once they have it set up, they're helping with the flow of the contest. So let's say you do a couple divisions, and at that point you're doing your award ceremony. Logistics has all the prizes there ready for you to do your award ceremony. They're paying attention to the flow of the day, and they're kind of helping out each group that needs help along the way. Logistics is also fixing things and solving problems. Sound goes out in the middle of the day. That's the person you look to, like, what's going on? They have to solve the problem. Generator runs out of gas. Logistics should have thought of that. That's their job, keep everything running. Last one's easy, assistant. If you're lucky enough, you have an assistant, you have someone helping out. Maybe this is even a volunteer. You might have two assistants, but they're there to, whether it's picking up trash or staple up a banner when it falls down, or go get the crew lunch or coffee or keep something iced down. That's what the assistant's doing. The assistant's there to work for everyone. Usually they work directly for someone like a project manager or a director, but the assistant's there to basically help you out. Okay, so you have your staffing dialed. They're not going to know what to do unless you are communicating. So of the utmost importance is meetings. So the depth and size of your event will determine how many meetings you need prior to the event. So you're always going to communicate on phone, email, text as you dial everything in with your event. But there are a certain amount of face-to-face meetings that are just going to be absolutely necessary that you have with your staff. So depending on if it's a major event on another part of the world, or something new, or something one-off, something really detailed and specific and unique, you're going to meet probably quite a bit in the beginning, and then as the event nears, I would say 2 months out of the event, 2 to 3 months out, you're doing a weekly checkup. You're running through what everyone's doing, and you're talking about how the day is going to flow and what's going to happen. When you have an event series that you do multiple of, we do this with Grind for Life, it's much easier. But we just essentially, to give you some insight on how we operate, we do a Grind for Life meeting probably 40 weeks out of the year. The only ones we miss are as if there's a vacation or we're all in different parts of the world. We're pretty much talking every single week for something like Grind for Life, where we do 10 to 12 contests a year. So then it's going to be, it gets very complicated very quickly, especially if you're doing multiple events. But even the simplest single one-off event, if you're using these videos for your one-off grassroots event, it gets complicated very quickly. And keeping track of all this it can be detailed and complicated. So what we started doing, we needed a solution. We started using Trello. So Trello is it's like a project management program, and it's free. You can go check it out, and it really tracks everything so well. You can set reminders for people, and everyone sees the same thing on the Trello board. And the part that I like the most is that you can put the person's face next to the task. So it can't be like, oh, I didn't know. You have access to the board. You were part of the meeting. You had to know that you needed to do this. So hey, you have a great staff. That's not an issue. But everyone likes to be, whether we say we like it or not, we all like to be held accountable for what we have to do. So you're doing all kinds of meetings ahead of time. You may have done 10 meetings before you had before your actual event day. But on the event day, you absolutely have to have a meeting. So the way we run it at like a Grind for Life, for example, we show up at 7 or 6:30, and we do a 6:30 a.m. Yes, that's for real. I mean, I know people are shocked at that sometimes. They're like, wait, you're on site at 6:30? Sometimes it's earlier, depending on how difficult we think the day is going to be. So you're on there, and you're doing a quick meeting at that point. It's like, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you're trying to get everything set up before anyone shows up. So at that point, once everything's set up, 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, before most of your customers show up and before practice officially starts, you're having another meeting where you're detailing what everyone's doing that day. The director is generally leading that, or the project manager could be leading, they could be doing it together. But yeah, that you're talking about that day. So then, hey, everyone's on, not only were we on the same page ahead of time, but we're on the same page today. Boom, let's go do this event. I think that's about it for staffing. Thank you for watching. If you need any help from the Boardr, hit us up, help@theboardr.com.